You, as a young people, except there's a few people, exception. Otherwise, most of you, you also, I think, I usually should describe the generation of 20th century and the generation of 21st century. So I'm the generation of 20th century. Now that century already gone. So I'm not alone, perhaps here. And there also, I think, I think looks like you also belongs to 20th century's generation, isn't it? So most of you, the generation of 21st century, so you have the opportunity to build happier, peaceful, ultimately compassionate world through education, not through prayer. So I want you to share this book and please think more seriously. Okay. Now some questions.
Your Holiness, in the teachings this September, you mentioned that you have only experienced moments of emptiness. Would you please describe your first personal experience with emptiness, or tell us a story that would help us relate to the experience of emptiness?
That's my secret. Although I publicly mentioned. Since I think my age, around 20, 16, 17, 20, I already developed interest about emptiness. And then one of my Censho, one Mongolian top scholar, because he himself, you see, very much thinking about shunyata. So that also one factor. So then after I came to India, I re-study all these important texts, particularly Madhyamaka text and Pranjaparamita text. Then I think in 70, maybe, I think early 70, one occasion, while I am reading about self, the Lama Tsongkhapa's one important book. You see, he mentioned the very word, or after he explained something, then self is mere, designated, mere name. That moment, actually, I got some kind of lightning, really. Not pain, something shocking here. That later I found. So since then, I say, no self. That feeling, there. So when I saw other people, you see, just like body, only body. No, as usually we feel, that being. But that kind of feeling not come when I look matters or minds. So clearly it shows there's some understanding, some experience of Dhamitara Niche Kansaga Dhami Rakpati.
So within the selflessness, there are the two divisions, gross and subtle ones. So that experience that I had had to do with the gross one, experience of selflessness.
If subtle one you should develop, then should be same feeling towards object, towards mind, all these. Right? So then, perhaps I think 2000, around 2000, or 90s, I think mostly, 2000. Then there's an understanding about the mere name. Nothing objectively exists. Nothing independently exists. The quantum physics also very helpful. Nothing, as far as matter is concerned, nothing objectively exists. Very similar. So now that thinking, I think now last 10, 15 years, I think my perception towards everything is much sort of changed. Things there, mere designation. Nothing independently exists. So first indication, the intensity of different negative emotion much reduced. But still, I never sort of claim I have the full understanding or full experience about shunyata. But little bit, because above zero way. I think that's the way, step by step, step by step. So like that. So it is really, I think the view of Kasota, the Kimatawu Sati, the one realistic reshada.
So, in Buddhist texts, there is mention of things being like a mirage or magical illusion. So that's quite realistic.
I want to tell, you see, the Kasajuti, the 21st generation's friend. Since, you see, the Buddhist sort of, the Kasota, practice, the understanding of absence of independent existence is not just mere theory, but is actually counterforce all negative emotion, because all destructive negative emotion based on exaggeration, right? Mental projection. Mental projection comes, the grasp, because of the feeling, grasping, things are objectively there. Good, absolute good there. Bad, absolute bad there. So that creates exaggeration. Another my friend, American I think scientist, Aaron Beck, very old now. He told me, through decades, his sort of experience dealing with people who have some sort of mentally disturbed, he found when anger develops, the object appears very negative, but 90% of that negativeness is mental projection. He's not Buddhist, or even religious person, but scientist, experienced scientist. So that is his sort of finding, and Nagarjuna's sort of explanation is exactly the same. So therefore, now point is, please pay some attention. Those people who not only study about quantum physics, but some kind of conviction, nothing, of course, up to now, only matters, not consciousness of mind, these things. The matter, you see, nothing objectively exists. Those sort of quantum physicists who really believe that, who have full sort of conviction out of their research work, judge these people, the intensity of attachment, anger, fear, maybe some differences. There you see the practice of thinking these not as a religious thing or meant for reduce destructive emotion, but logically, the emotion based on grasping independent existence. Therefore, through quantum physics, now nothing independently exists or objectively exists. Maybe some impact in their mind. I'm wondering. I told you some of my friend, some physicist, quantum physicist I mentioned. So I want to share. This is you, young people, so you have enough time to watch with these people and some discuss. Okay. Yes. Next question.
Tashinele. So we were wondering, how do we find the balance between helping refugees adjust to our culture while maintaining their own culture?
Kasa. As I mentioned earlier, firstly, as a human being, you see, I think because of basically we are semi-human being. So you see different people, different country, you see taking these refugees. And they also, you see, feel happy so long, you see, no immediate danger. Because, you see, both sides, you see, the sense of oneness of human being. Meantime, the secondary level, as I mentioned earlier, different flower, different color. It's better to keep differences. So therefore, it's a preservation of their own culture, including their language. I really admire Chinese. Wherever there sort of the bigger number you see remain, they eventually, you see, they create so-called Chinatown like that. The generations, they preserve their own culture. And many places like Vietnamese, many places, Buddhist temples there. So they preserve their faith, their culture. Meantime, you see, they carry also their daily life. One time, in Vancouver, mayor, one Chinese, I think many years ago, you see, he told me when he first came Canada, in his pocket $10, and through his hard work, then some education, then eventually become mayor. So these very practical people, hardworking, like that. Meantime, you see, preserve their own culture. That's very good. That's my view. Okay. Then, so sometimes I teasing my Indian friend, the Chinese, wherever they live, bigger number, Chinatown. England or America, in many places, large number of Indian, but no India town. Why? I think worthwhile to create India town. And there, India's 1,000-year-old tradition, ahimsa, non-violence, and religious harmony, that now time come must share with the rest of the world. In this country, wonderful. Religious harmony, wonderful. Occasionally some problem here and there. That's understandable. I usually is telling, over 1 billion population, there must be some mischievous people. Otherwise not a human society. So therefore, some mischievous activity is always there. That will not represent India. India, I think, over 2,000 years, beside their own homegrown religions, different philosophy, but all major world religious tradition settled here, last 2,000 years. So basically, very harmonious, wonderful, like that. So this, I think now, this should, I think our Prime Minister, I think maybe, hopefully, it's not only just economy, But these real sort of India's tradition, which is relevant, humanity, I think should should promote, should share with more people. Then next question.
Hello, Your Holiness. On behalf of all the Antioch students, we wanted to thank you for allowing us to sit here and ask you questions, but we are wondering, what is the nature of mind and how do we realize it?
Karsa. Now, it is quite sort of useful. We usually, particularly materialistic world, we almost relying completely the sensorial experiences. So some kind of satisfaction through sensorial experience, that we consider at topmost important. So material, nice nice sight, and nice sound, and smell, touch, and kasa, taste and touch, including sex. So then, I think just fully utilize about the sensorial experience, then we are not much differences than animal. The sight, power, hearing, I think some animal much better than our sort of because of the hearing or because of seeing. I think definitely elephant is in their nose, go like that. I think few miles they can smell. We, I think several feet. Right? I think difficult to feed. So we have to. So then, sometime, I think many years ago, one occasion, of course, one cat. One time, you see, my cat used to sit here. Then I noticed the eyeball, little bit sort of looks bumbushua. So, some way, extendedly, I noticed the cat's eyeball, the other side, I can see something through the sort of ball. So it looks bigger than the reality. So, because of a magnified glass like that. So therefore, I think their eyesight, I think much stronger than we. I don't know. Distance, I don't know. So like that. So, but we have, you see, this wonderful brain. Since we are human beings, we must utilize these, I think, if you accept Creator, the God's, I think, best gift is our special brain. So we must utilize that. So that, then the five senses of organs are something like medium way. The information come through that way, the judgment carried by sixth mind, mental level. So now mental level, in order to utilize mental level, now intelligence, reasons, these are related with mental level, not because of the organs, consciousness. Right? So now it is quite useful, quite interesting, you see, to think more about that sixth mind or mental. So for that, usually our mind, something like carton, right? Carton, through senses of organs, color, or these forms, and pains and pleasure. That's mainly mental level. So in order to know, you see, that very nature of our mind, this carton should be stopped, right? Should be removed. So that means now you completely stop the activities of five senses of organs. Then mental level, try to stop past memory and certain sort of anticipation of future. So all these try to stop deliberately. Then you may feel something empty. Then try to maintain that level bit longer, and get used. Then you get the feeling of mere illumination, mere luminosity of mind. So then that at the beginning may not remain long, but through familiarize such kind of practice, then you able to remain longer. That's one way. But then mere just to recognize or experience mere luminosity of mind, it won't, reduce negative emotion. So you need altruism, practice of altruism, which is common to all major tradition. Then wisdom side, understanding about nothing independent existence. Existence. That's Madhyamaka philosophy or Buddhist tradition. Then also, you see, that level of mind, while the senses of organs fully active, they deliberately try to reduce their activities just to maintain the mental level. And that practice, if you gain some experience, then at the time of dreaming, you remember your daily practice. Then in dream time, try to meditate that kind of mental luminosity. Dream time, if you try to meditate that, and then dream gradually, deliberately, so cease. Then deeper sort of experience in dream, sleep time, go like that. So these more related with Tantrayana practice. So maybe Ngakpala may have some experience. I have not much experience. I can explain, but if you ask me experience, then zero. Next question.
Given that we live in a world of diverse beliefs that is also filled with systematic injustice, what advice do you have for translating compassion into action?
Kasa. That actually I already mentioned. Actually, the Chambada Chawasa, the first level can you second level can be.
So when you go to the basic humanity, human level, then we can talk about the practice of or experience of love and compassion. Not when we.
I think genuine compassion, genuine sort of love. I think touched on the basic level. We are same human being. if that practice there, then your enemy, as far as their attitude is concerned, negative. But still, they are human brothers, sisters. So they deserve our love, our compassion, because they are same human being. On secondary level, my religion, my faith, my nation, sometimes you call patriotism, patriotism. Then I think I love my countrymen, maybe not genuine love, but mixed with attachment. So attachment is biased. So more love your own countrymen, more negative feeling to other. Similarly, more sort of touch, more sort of love, your sort of fellow of your own faith, actually attachment, that automatically bring hate others. That's not genuine love, genuine practice way. So, as I mentioned earlier, you see, the genuine love as with children, they don't care what others' faith, what other sort of color or nationality. So that's unbiased love. Unbiased love, not oriented about others' attitude, but the being itself. Biased love is then based on secondary level of differences. That's mainly attachment. And very much related with their attitude, sense, same faith. So you feel something closeness. That's attachment. Okay. Next.
Teshidale. We were wondering if you have any advice for us as young educators as we begin our careers in education.
Kasa, France. Right. I think other subject, I think you know better. I don't know. If I have
to talk and teach you mathematics, I won't be able to. I don't even know the multiplications.
That's okay.
제가 quantum 시고를 들으면 이 colors 말이야. 지 말씀하실래? 이 quantum 시는 카오스 말이야.
So perhaps when I talk about quantum physics, it may sound quite bold.
지시행으로. Science level 지시행으로.
Because I don't know mathematics, so when you talk about science and physics, particularly, you need to know mathematics.
So I think, as I mentioned earlier, today's existing education system is something lacking. Most of these troublemakers, as far as modern education is concerned, they are quite well educated. Their education causing more trouble. So definitely something lacking. And then, I think some of my friends, I think as far as modern education is concerned, very well educated. And some of them billionaire. But as a person, very unhappy person. So education failed, existing modern education failed to bring inner peace. So therefore, now, that book already, you see, not just my idea, you see, as a result of discussion with many scientists, I think over 30 years, and meeting and contact and conversation, then many agree the modern education oriented about material value. external things. As far as internal value is concerned, usually we rely on religion. Then today's world, out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. And among the believer also, you see some little bit strange believer also there. I think lack of moral principle. So therefore, you see, we have to make every effort, you see, to educate people about inner value, not relying on religion. Now then what else? What is the method? It's Indian tradition, secular way, not talking religion. I usually is telling, use scientific finding. I think I want to share. You see, some scientists, according to their sort of the experiment, for example, you see, very young infant child, about a few months old, language not yet developed. So to such infant, because infants are child, show cartoon. One cartoon, you see, 2 children play together. When that cartoon show to that child, feel happy, smile. When a cartoon, 2 children create some obstacle each other, negative way, the child feel unhappy. So some scientists, because of that, basic human nature is more compassionate. We love friendship. We love compassion, or love. We like love or friendship. So basic human nature is positive. And then also, it's a constant anger, constant fear, actually eating our immune system. Anger, fear, these actually immediately disturb our peace of mind and gradually ruin our physical health. So therefore, we can conclude basic human nature is positive. I think that is the basis of our hope. If basic human nature is negative, then no hope. Since basic human nature is positive, therefore, we can use human intelligence to promote this basic human nature. Okay, isn't it? What do you think? Traditionally, you Indian, our teacher, all our knowledge here, you see, come from India. You also Indian. How?
Well, parents are Fiji.
Fiji. Right. There are some Indian community.
Yeah, originally from Bengal.
Bengal. So originally, you see, Indian. So therefore, you see, all our knowledge come from India. So our relation, Tibetan, Indian, traditionally, you see, relation between teacher and student. More precisely, ancient Indian, not modern Indian. Now it seems, I think, the knowledge about ancient Indian was a treasure. I think students have more than teacher. So therefore, the secular way to educate the moral ethics, the simple way, I think we already use in that book. We already saw how to educate from kindergarten up to university level. So here first, I think very rich knowledge about our mind, about our emotion. In ancient Indian, or say the psychology, the modern psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology, modern psychology looks like kindergarten level. Really, Indian sort of, the knowledge, the different kind of emotion, different kind of mind, is really highly developed. So now time comes to share with the rest of the world. Not as a religion, just simply science of mind. Like that. So, as a teacher, please think and firstly read this book, and then, discuss with your friend, and any suggestions, most welcome. Then?
We have the last question.
Yes.
Hi. What advice would you give to the committed Dharma practitioner who may still hold biases ingrained within them from their secular and religious education of their youth?
그래서 쉬어봐. I think Dharma, the Sanskrit word, Dharma means protect, protection. Right? So, from what protect? Suffering, pain. Firstly, yourself, and also other. The way to protect suffering is actually, finally, our mind, our emotion. Emotion, any sort of harmful actions, physical action, verbal action, come out of negative emotion. So I think that basically the demarcation, violence, non-violence, is not on because of the appearances, right? But motivation. Motivation, compassionate motivation, loving kindness, then even harsh word is non-violence. Sincere parent. I think my father, a little bit disciplined to me, I think out of concern. So I can say non-violent. Appears a little bit like that. Then, out of the motivation, try to cheat, try to take advantage. And you just smile, nice word. You see, this appears non-violence, but actually violence. Because try to harming. So therefore, so Dharma means any motivation, any action which help other is dharmic action. Dharma work. Dharma work. Dharma not necessarily some kind of hours prayer and thinking money. Some of our monks, you see, I think day-long prayer. I think some of them, although not all, I think some of them may think, when we completed that prayer, how much was that?
How much money we would receive.
Sometimes I usually see sort of because of the teasing or joking Tibetan. We often recite Om Mani Padme Hum, this mantra, you know. So a little bit of hurry, then we sounds looks like money. That really looks money like that. Nowadays, I think dollar. So I think the essence of religion, that's love. And religious people, in order to practice love more sort of effectively, continuously, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm comes from philosophy. God, faith to God, or faith about law of causality. If I do good, I get benefit. If I do bad, I get a negative consequences. So with that sort of belief, more enthusiasm. In order to develop enthusiasm, then philosophical thinking are necessary. But that not necessarily to non-believer. Practice of love is something universal. Sometimes I describe love is a universal religion. Even animal appreciate that, isn't it? Like that. Okay, thank you. So as a young student, think more seriously these points. If you feel some reasons